All right, back at the desk. Some new equipment in the office. Just installed it, and the bird is still attacking the window. That's crazy. Baby bird are gone. What are the parents still doing at my front door? Go away. All right. Thank you for being here live. Those of you watching it later, thanks for nothing. No kidding. All right, so this is going to be an important week follow through on last week. So I just got my first look at the price action of Friday. I was out, and this is the last couple of days worth of action. I thought I would start with the SPY. Now tonight, for the members, you guys are going to get a 5-minute strategy video. I think it's going to be important. We're at all-time highs. One or two segments are not following. Let's see who wins out. We have a high, we have a low, we're somewhere in the middle. If you are watching my screens live in the past week or two, maybe 3, we had these little yellow bars that we've been following through. Look at it, almost to the penny. Again, this red box was one candle pre-open on 520. We called it the 520 cave. Look at it. It's the pivotal zone on Friday as well. So there are no coincidences. Also, this is the 61 fib for this period of time. Now for the bulls, the good news, I'll cover that later. The purple line is what I'm talking about. Okay, so today we have a bunch of tickers to look through. And I think I will use this one here. Oh, this is it, 527. All right. They are alphabetically ordered, and this video will be one of 3. We'll start with Apple. That is the one everyone asks about, and it's somewhat lagging the other ones, setting new highs and all of that. So it's still stuck inside of a reaction zone from its last earnings reports. Not this one, one's previous. You can see the box right here. This here is not yet bullish. I know they have an opportunity to break out from 193. If they do, they can probably breach 200 in a series of higher lows and higher highs. Otherwise, they might retrace back to 185 or 179. 179 is target 1 of this giant red W. There are 2 Ws, which are harmonics, which are bearish patterns in this case because the price action retraces along the path of something. So for Apple, just like the S&P, they have a high, they have a low, somewhere in the middle is where they are. If for the next few days they lose 187, 86 actually would be easier to remember. If they lose 186, they will end up in the 70s, high 70s. PPI madness, CPI madness, those are important comments I'm going to be making later tonight. Okay. And of course, the NVIDIA madness. AbbVie. So what would I do with Apple? Nothing new. If I'm an investor, where's the rush? If I'm a trader, I just gave you the lines to trade. AbbVie losing support, that's not good. I think that's been consolidating for quite a bit. From the sense of, okay, is it a disaster? It isn't. They broke out from this zone that's below us, and now they're retracing back into it. It should provide support. It is a zone, so I wouldn't just jump in blindly. Know what you're doing. Are you investing? Are you trading? If I'm long, I'm not adding here, most definitely. And it looks like the start of something. Let me say it differently so not to upset some people. If it doesn't get back above 161 and hold it, it's probably going to drift lower another $5 to $8. Make sure you know when the earnings, 60 days until earnings. Adobe, 17 days until earnings. Let's see the green scribbly marks. All right, so from this point on here in April, I said it could pop and drop and drift lower. So it looks like that already happened to a large degree. So I can move this over to here. And okay, so they didn't fill this whole thing. Well, they too are stuck like Apple, high, low, somewhere in the middle, except it's towards the bottom end. In theory, these candles that they just placed not too long ago in May 14th, they should be support. If not, they could drift a little bit lower. Now, earnings are in 17 days. Longer term, I don't like the fact that these teal colored moving averages are above it. Those are anchored VWAPs. You can see how they lost a level up in the 540 area. I wonder if they want to retrace all the way back to that word that I wrote, weak. Weak as in weak volume, because of the speed with which they broke out back in 2023, June. They left the weak spot. So if you lose 460, it's a short trip to 380 because weak hands live there. That's the caution. And markets are at all-time highs. Not a good predicament. Affirm. It isn't a bad long for a trader, but if you lose 28, 29, you could end up at 24-ish. I'm not rushing. Also, you can see how 38 right there was the floor at one point. They lost it. They tried to recover it. They couldn't. And it's long gone. So now they're trying to hold 29, 28 so it doesn't become like 38. It's easy for it to be at 22, 24, 20, which would be much better for me. So I don't know how much of a, quote, bank they are. If they are any sort of bank, like do they hold their own paper? If debt is at all-time highs and the Fed doesn't cut rates, I mean, any which way you slice it, I wouldn't want to be a bank, I don't think, holding paper. I like the business, though. Allstate, is that who that is? Yeah, Allstate. So the red W is playing out in the sense where it's drifting lower. Target 2 is around 162 from that red W harmonic. It does have support at 162 and 160. You can see it, high volume area. So it should not be easy to fall below it. I'm a little worried about this zone down below, around the 150, pretty weak. So they better hold this whole volume area. They have a wide volume area that is support from 161 through 154, 55. So there's no reason to go below it. You never know. Investment wise, I'm not rushing. Trading wise, I do have support. If they get a bounce, there's going to be a ton of sellers into 170, so I would not buy calls. Amazon, look at this symmetry. Poke, drift, poke, drift. Let's see where they get with that. They do have a lot of support. You know, I'm a fan of the company. I'm not a fan of 188 as far as short-term price action. Anything above 186 looks like resistance for now. I would be cautious chasing above that. It doesn't look that solid of support, so I can see it visually. It's easy to drift lower. Let's say the market drifts lower. God forbid, you know. What am I talking? Nick, come on. Market lower, red ticks, they don't come. Anyway, let's say they do drift lower. This is an easy trip to 174. How would I trade this? Iron Condor maybe? Not sure. I would want to buy shares here for the long term. It's not necessary to jump in. Trading wise, I would trade the price action. So if I get a rally and I want to short it, I would sell a credit call spread. On dips, I would marry it with a credit put spread to make an Iron Condor. To be honest, these days it's easier to use the indices to do that, so avoid single stock headlines. Okay, Arista next. How about now? Okay. Audio recovered. No problem. Thanks, guys. Okay. I don't know what you heard. What ticker was I on? Anyway, Arista, nothing wrong with it. It's just not an investment grade up here. Where's the rush? Tradable, yes. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. That would be my trade with this one. Excellent company. On paper, it's so good it's fake. That's my new tagline. So good, it's fake. Air Products, not familiar. From a trading perspective, this is not an entry point. It has a disaster here. I don't know what the heck that was. Apparently it sucked and now it doesn't. But now it's back up to where it sucked. So not a place I would start longs. If anybody was stuck up here in shares or calls or whatever, this is their exit. So I would buy a dip into 250 or 245. This way it would have time to consolidate and bounce off what could be a floor. Maybe this was a complete overreaction. So maybe the bottom is somewhere around 250. So a dip would be better to buy than to chase it up here. If I'm long and I don't want to do anything, that's fine. You should expect a little resistance here though. ARM Holding. We all know it's awesome. I would buy shares again, like I've done. So we bought shares at 55. It fell. People made fun of us, and then it rallied to high heaven. I got out somewhere in the 70s, 78, 77. I can't remember. And then when it dipped here, we got long again, and now I'm not long anymore. So this one, just like the stock before it, as excellent as a company as it is, it's going into a prior fail. You can see the ledge around 122, 124. I'm not for that. So I'm asking, why is this company not at an all-time high when the markets are? So this is AI this and AI that, and that's the mother of all AI logic. They sell nothing but ideas, so their margins are huge. Why is it not at an all-time high? I can tell you, if it loses 84, I know it is impossible, but if it does, I don't think it holds 50 eventually, technically speaking. So I would wait to buy the dip. I'm a fan, super fan on dips. Buy shares. It's excellent. Buy shares, sell calls, covered calls. Okay, ASML. Wow, I'm sensing a theme here. Anyway, big ledge of sellers above. See that letter R? If you look to the left and above, right around here, all these transactions now are overhead resistance. So it's good that they bounced off of 900. Now 900-ish is support. 950 to 980 is a huge battle. So the easy work from here to here is over. Now they have to plow through all these transactions, and they don't have a catalyst like earnings until 50 days from now. Buying the dip should be an easy thing through 850. If we lose 850, we'll have a different conversation. Look left, there's nothing holding it up down to 770. But I think that would require a market-wide correction. If your forecast doesn't include that, then you should be okay with this stock. Aspen, whatever. Whoa. Is that an all-time high? Yes. The person that's asking for this, that's not an all-time high. What are you asking me for? I don't understand. To go long? Never would I ever consider going long a stock like this as an investment. If you waited this long, you missed it. You want to buy into these 2 or 3 weeks of failures? Not for me. I mean, it could go to 45. For me, it'll have to do it without me. I just can't do it. And if you're a momentum trader, you know how to buy high and sell higher, go for it. You don't need me or the charts. Just buy, plug your nose and buy, and sell when you make money and close if you don't. AVGO, also an excellent company, Broadcom. I wish they would split so it would become more liquid. Right now it's not very liquid to trade. It's kind of a pain in options. 1340 visual break should be support. Is the breakout? May have a little bit more upside. If I look left, is it going to be easy? Maybe, maybe not. So I think this mirrors the market. So if you invest in this one, you might as well invest in the S&P. If you're looking to short it, it's probably easier to short the S&P because this one might have single stock headlines in 16 days. Earnings, excellent P&L. Margins are, sales are growing, margins are shrinking net. I'm looking at the P&L. We'll see how next quarter report financials look like, and that's in 16 days. Company's excellent. Investment-wise, there's no rush. It's at an all-time high. Where's the rush? Alibaba. Okay. Technically, whatever was resistance now should be support. We haven't looked at that stock in a while. I don't trade it anymore. I really don't. It's just this was an important Renko level. Look at this candle right there, and they're in it. That's probably not a coincidence. Anybody that bought it up here, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Anyway, if you're buying it here, I get it. You're buying it into, hi, happy Memorial Day. I'm buying it into support. So in case somebody did that, I understand the logic. I still don't like it because it's like a black hole. We have to worry about the stock market in general, the financials of the company, and the politics in China, which I don't know anything about. So to eliminate variables, I don't trade that. On paper, it's an okay company, although the net income is dropping like flies. BITV. Is this a Bitcoin ETF? I haven't traded any of the Bitcoin ETFs except Bito. You know the history. You bought it at 11. Now it's whatever, zillion, 29, 28. Bitcoin has an important decision to make. So, my crypto, buy the dips blindly when the crash happens and everybody's making fun of it. Up here, it's a trade. Eventually, probably going to be over 200,000. That's over a few years after the JP Morgans of the world start pushing asset allocation on people with money. And so there is upside. It's just, what is your average cost into it? Up here, it's not a rush to own it. I do own a core position. I cashed out of a whole bunch. So I have a core position. Above 39, BITB, above 39, you can make a high. But that's the story of Bitcoin. I think it's more important to look at Ether these days. And Ether needs to break out soon. Needs to. And it will take this one with it. And as far as getting long into it, if you're an investor, and if this indeed is an actual Bitcoin ETF, in other words, there's no bleed. Like some ETFs, there's a bleed. You look at the actual spot price and its price, and they don't match. So make sure it matches, and you can use it as an accumulator. Otherwise, just trade Bitcoin. You can accumulate over time, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. Just how you trade gold. Bitcoin is e-gold. All right. BKSY. Not sure what that is. Black Sky Technology. Sounds ominous. Well, the stock chart is not pretty. It's at a low, but I don't know what to tell you. The sales are dropping. Maybe on a quarterly basis. It's an erratic. It's a small company. It's not my gig. I don't trade charts that look like that, to be honest. I avoid. Well, you're at a low. I don't know what's below that. You don't know what's below that. If it breaks through to a new low, you have no recourse. Blackstone, you have a high, you have a low. It's somewhere in the middle. If you buy, call. If you go long, if you go short, you're guessing. Unless you have a thesis. The thesis here is that there's a target 2 at 121 from that red W, which is another harmonic. It also says inside the box, there should be a lot of buyers, as there are a lot of sellers. So I have a seller at 128 and a buyer through 119. Whose side are you on? If you're an investor, maybe you nibble a little bit. If you're a trader, maybe you sell an iron condor. We've done iron condors on this one before. They worked out okay. I don't think it's very liquid. But every once in a while, it goes headliney for some reason. So be careful. Berna. I believe this is the gun, not gun thing. Maybe I'm mistaken. No. Anyway, $13-ish looks like a problem. $14 looks like a bigger problem, and that's the opportunity, but it doesn't look that easy. If you look left, there's a crap ton of volume above. I think it's easier to drift lower. How low? I have no idea. There's not a lot of support until, there, of course, a round number of 10 and 850. Those stick out. Cadence, 305 looks impossible to overcome. And they would need a lot of buyers to support them below. They do have buyers around 287 or lower. So there's a lot of resistance below, but look at the volume above, just as bad. So the next couple of weeks are pretty important for this stock. 302, that poke high, that came with an all-time high as far as markets are concerned. So I think this one is stuck in here for a bit. I would not hold calls. If you own shares, that's something different. Look in, if anybody owns shares, more than 100 shares of anything, especially good companies, look into selling covered calls. It's a way to pay yourself. Constellation Energy. Yep. Whoa. They develop what? Water-based energy? My God. Okay, so someone explain to me, how is a P&L going like this when the how is the stock price going like this when the P&L is on flat line? I don't understand this. So please do your homework. What are we doing here? Is this a dividend? Do they like just pay dividend after dividend? Not uncommon. Well, I don't know about that. There's no cash flow from operations. The income statement is crap. There's no margin in the business. What is happening here? I don't get it. Is it a dividend play, pure and simple? And where are they getting the money to pay the dividend? Holy mackerel. Hi, Adnan. Thank you for your cover on Friday. I don't know what the heck is going on here. They must have invented power on water. Anyway, not for me. And if you're looking to trade it, just trade it. You don't need logic. If you're looking to invest in it, you know more than me, obviously. I'm puzzled at this incredibly healthy. Look at this and look at Apple. How is this? This is a pristine chart for a company like Apple or Nvidia. Not for me. CELH. Energy drinks, right? Yeah. A dip towards 86, 85 would be better entry. Important to hold 91. If you don't hold 91, you're going there. Versus the sellers at $99, that guy right there. Breach from that probably will get you 104. The P&L is growing fast, so don't know about the quarterly basis. On an annual basis, it is. So be careful with these. You know, they might be fads sometimes. I'm not calling it fad. If you want to see something funny, is I often do this, and they work fairly consistently. So I copy this rally and what happened last time and see how close they are to this one here. Let's do that and see what happens. Okay. No earnings soon. Costco, excellent company. The P&L is solid. Retail sector is still... Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that. That was the microphone hitting my face because I got a new boom arm, and it used to be on the right side, and now it's on the left side. And I moved my left hand, hit myself in the face with the microphone arm. Awesome. Good morning, Nick. Okay, so we are going to have to do something about this one today. This guy is puzzle. The stock looks very vulnerable. The company does not look vulnerable. Earnings in 3 days. You're flipping a coin into the earnings. If you are a member, come into the live room the day of the earnings and before they report the earnings. And we will look at the options to see if they give us clues as to which way they want to go. It's an excellent company. Stock is a little vulnerable though. CRM, excellent company. Stock looks a little vulnerable. It's falling into support. But if you lose this support, you will end up in this red box. This, on the left side, this weak spot down from 2023, December, does not inspire stability, does it? I don't care how good the company is. And it too is going into earnings. So same comments, come to me the day before the earnings or before they report the earnings. And we will look at the options to see what they have in stock for us. CrowdStrike, excellent company. We did discuss it over the weekend. This candle right here is really your box. So if you draw your box around it, that's all you got to see. It's stuck in there for a bit. Actually, the box is like this. Weak spot down into 331. I would imagine they need to come back down and revisit that. That's the only weak spot in the chart on this time frame. On this time frame, yep, I can second that. This was an important zone for some reason. I'm going to delete it. I'm not sure what that is. And this is just all you need. This giant Overreaction up here. 376, whatever the heck that was. I can't go long into a candle like this, is what I'm saying. Cisco, whoa. This is a nasty chart right here. Why? You went to the moon on some woohoo headline from the earnings, and then now you're losing support from before the earnings. So I'm going to tell you this. If Cisco doesn't pop up to 47 or 47.50 or 48 and hold, it's probably going to 44. I don't think it'll even hold this one. So just be careful. It's going to bleed lower if it doesn't pop right now. It's in danger of falling apart. I can't imagine it would do that without the market correction. So maybe they hold out until the market has a couple of red days. Chevron, great company, great management, not a great entry for price. I know it's well priced versus PE now, but the E depends completely on the price of the asset they sell, and they don't control that price. It's not like Nike controls its own shoe price. This one, the PE can go to hell in no time. All that has to happen is just a drop in oil. Technically, I like 155 zone as support. So if somebody started longs here and they're looking for a bounce to 162, I get it. 160 resistance, 161. I'm not short these days. I have shorted it before. How would I trade this? I would sell a put spread if there's enough premium. I doubt there is, but if there is, that's how I would do it. Buy shares. I'm not broken up over it here. I mean, yes, it does pay dividend, but a 10% correction wipes the dividend twice over, so not interested. DAL. I just flew this weekend. God, those people, how are they in business? I have no idea. Not this company, all of them. Golly. I mean, what is happening? 50.5, I better hold. If you lose it, you go into 48. That's all I got to say. And it's a mountain of sellers above 51. 52, I'm sorry, 52. 52, 52 and a half, a lot of resistance. So if this zone is resistance. So you better hold this zone, otherwise you end up here. Do what you need with it. Decker. Whoa. That's some pretty important shoes. Once again, what the hell? What is going on with this? Look at the P&L on the bottom right. Sales are down like eyeballs, 30% more, 50%. What is this? How is this 800? How is this 1.6 billion and this is 800 million? Anyway, sales going the wrong way, stock going the other way. What is going on? Is this an all-time high? Oh my Lord. Okay. Yeah, buy. With your money, not with mine. I would never go this whatever they said, they must have been said, oh, we missed a lot of orders and we're going to dump them all in next quarter and you'll see $2 billion. If they didn't say that, I don't understand. I honestly don't understand what that is. Wow. I mean, what the heck? Okay. How about I give you nope, not an obvious point of entry. Not an obvious point of entry, NOPE. What the deck? Nice, Brad. Dell, that's cute. Dell, excellent company, XMPNL. I don't trade it. They're always having headlines. We're going private, we're going public, we're going to sell this, we're going to sell that. And in this case, it's going into earnings. It's a coin flip. You don't have to come to me during the earnings on the earnings day, because I know the options are not that. They don't give good clues from options. It's not that heavy volume. So good luck. Just plug your nose, flip a coin. Hopefully it's a shiny coin, and see if you can make money on the earnings. It's a complete coin flip here into the earnings. Not the earnings themselves. I'm pretty sure they're going to be solid. The reaction to the earnings. We've had this conversation. DFLI. Dragonfly Energy, another energy company. These guys did not invent water energy. P&L is iffy at best. They're falling into support, so one could say, all right, it has supported around 75 cents. Resistance around 1.1. Not my style of stock to trade. DraftKings, so exciting arena, gambling, sports, and all of that, great. They better not lose 39. You lose 39, you're going to the low 30s. How far down? I don't know, 36 to 33, 32 doable. Okay, I definitely hate this new arm the way it is. I'm going to have to change it. All right, I'm going to need a drill for that, so that should be fun. In theory, it should drop $9 from here. In reality, I think only 4 to 5, so that puts us in the low 30s. If you lose 39, you're going to the low 30s. Bounces may come, and I think the bounce will fade, and this is the target. Let's say this bounce comes up. See that area of interest is going to be resistance up here. So this better hold. No, I mean $9. The height of the Head and Shoulders. Come on, we just discussed this weekend. You don't see it? Head and Shoulders. Okay. Neckline, I just drew it here. Multiple shoulders, head, choppy here. You lose that, you end up down here. Okay. DraftKings, shoulders of a king. Brad, that was not your best. Krispy Kreme. NKD, who remembers that? Nobody. Yes, exactly, nobody. This is NKD stew. Krispy Kreme. All right, losing support. Downside should breach that, so it's not for me. Leave it. P&L, not crazy bad, but stock, crazy bad. So you can do two things. If if I was already long the stock, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to go long the stock for an investment, I'll take half of a position and I'll buy the second half when it hits 750. And then I'll be in at a reasonable price. I'm not sure why I would be jumping into this one. Just what is going on? Wow. Is this like a reverse SPAC or something? Whoa. No, not for me. Too choppy. This is what I call escargot. It's edible, but why? A DigitalOcean, you have support below and you have resistance above. The support, if you lose it, you end up at 28. So if you lose 31, you end up at 28. If you take out 41-ish, you end up at 48. Earnings? No earnings. Let's zoom in here. It looks difficult on the upside. It looks easier to drift a little bit lower. So if I were to make a guess, it would drift down to 34.50. eFoot? What? Oh, okay. What is this? Ethereum? Yeah. Just trade Ethereum. What is this? Yep. Is this the Ethereum headline thing? So they already were trading this before the approval? How does this exist? Yep. I own Ethereum. You want to trade Ethereum? I would suggest you trade Ethereum. But, okay, if Ethereum breaks out, this one's going to take off the opportunity from 32.1. Until then, what the hell is this? Yep. Make sure it's liquid. And it's here to stay. ETP lost a good line at 1580, 1590. Now it's going to be difficult to recover. It's going to be easier to drift lower to 1490. If you lose 1490, you come into this white box on the left. You do have support. You just are drifting lower and making lower lows. Like, there was no need to lose 1550. You need to recover it quickly. A lot of volume above. Etsy. Same comment. Losing 66 was a problem. Look left. Look at all the volume. This red bar right there, this is the highest point of volume. Again, stupid boom arm. I apologize for the microphone bangs, but I can't avoid it right now. It's right in front of me. Actually, maybe I can. Bear with me for a second. No, I can't. I was like, I'll do it on the weekend. Wrong. Boomboxing. I am boomboxing. Now that is good. I just boxed the boom arm. Yes. Okay. Support down that just happened on the earnings. You better not lose it. If you lose it, you're going down to 50 or 49. and it's going to be difficult to come out of 65. So let's hope it's choppy inside that zone. I'm a fan of the business. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the P&L or the progress of the stock. We've made money with this guy by selling credit put spreads at times. Exelon, choppy as usual. It's having one of its moments, falling into prior support. It should find support through 36. It's heavy volume where it's falling into, and a sharp bounce with a sharp bounce above it, but behind it. So in all fairness, it should find its support. So one would ask, is this dip right here that's happening the same as this? Or is it like this? You make the decision. So this is starting to look like the other one, doesn't it? Anyway, best case scenario, this is this scenario, version 1. Worst case scenario, this is version 2, before the recovery. Which one do you want? Let's make them different colors. Okay, with that is video number 1. Stop recording. We will start recording video number 2. Give me a moment. And let's go. Video 2 of 3 today. 5:27. I don't know what FB, did you mean to say Facebook? And you put in FB because that doesn't look like anything anyone would trade. Anyway, if it is, you have a mountain of sellers above, I wouldn't invest in this. But I don't know its P&L, so you may want to. You have support at 43. If you lose it, you're going down to 39. And a lot of sellers above. Fiverr. Don't do business with Fiverr. I've tried. Liars. Descending channel. Looks like Wall Street figured it out. Lower lows, lower highs. Going into a mountain of resistance. Anything above 27 should be difficult, especially around 30. If it gets to 30, it's shortable. Yes, hard bounce twice. So it's still easier to come down to 22 or 21. Stock in the middle of heavy volume of buyers and sellers. So be careful what you're chasing there. Here's a short-term visual to show you how easy it is to come down to 22. 23.5 to 22.5. Sorry. And you have a very sharp seller at 26.5. You need to overcome. And if you do, you look left, you got a mountains of sellers up there. GDX, so this is not gold. This is gold miners. If you're a fan of gold, just trade gold. Don't trade gold miners. I'll tell you why. Gold miners are companies. Here's a scenario. Market's correct. Gold takes off for some reason. These guys will not take off with gold. They will go with the market because they are companies. So if you're trading gold, trade GLD, not GDX. I do like to trade the GDX though. This here is not an obvious entry point. Closer to 32.50. Closer to 32.50 would be better. Let's drill down. A lot of support, so it's not going to be easy. First test 34.60 versus 36. Actually 36.2. Make a note of that. That's the last open candle up there on a 2-hour basis. Let's go one more. 36.2 again versus 33.5. 36.2, 33.5. Let's put a box. Since we did the homework. No, I want to leave it as a range. As a global, we'll do it global. All right. The Google machine. Somebody asked for GOOG. It's the same concept. So make note. I'm not covering both. You have a huge seller from the earnings. So this will be a huge catalyst. If Alphabet can take that out, open season, right? So you can't really short it. Company fundamentals are super solid. So you're going with the market. This will go with the way of the market. Headlines galore. Gemini this, Gemini that, Apple this, Apple that. Just know that this is an amazing company. The next correction, you can buy the dip. Right here, I would probably just sell iron condors on it. I wouldn't go long or short. I would go neutral. Or if it dips into 170, I would try to go long as a trade, not an investment. There's no rush to get into as an investment. Gray television, what is that? It's trying to hold support. If you lose this support, it's open season lower. I don't know how low it goes. And it could look similar to this area here. If it rallies, like it looked like it rallied here and it's failing and it made a lower low. So here consolidated, broke out, made a lower low. I don't know about that. So hold 5.5, 5.4. Hold this. Otherwise, you're going much lower. And if you went long against this, okay, I get it. You're going long into support. Just have a stop. IBM, the puzzle company of the world, the most overappreciated company on the planet, in my opinion. One of the mega caps. So much potential never developed. They had the world, and then they gave it all up. But the stock still trades well. To me, the big pivot is 153. Solid support at 162 through 160, 158. And everything you see above current price is a huge island of, like, what is that? What is that? Who bought it up here? They need to consult a chartist for that. Just look left, people. Anyone bought it up here did not have a good time. What makes you think this time is different? So head and shoulder-ish looking. If you lose this, if you want to draw it this way, probably people see it. The downside is down here. So solid base of support. I think a mountain of resistance up here. It's easier to drift lower. Short-term comment, shortable. Intel, a pretty disappointing company. Not too long ago, it was larger than NVIDIA and AMD put together twice over. And I mean not too long ago. And now NVIDIA is as big as it. And solid support. You look left, mountains of support below. Like everything is support. And the market is at all-time highs, and this one is trying to hold support. Not a good situation. If you lose 29, you could end up in the mid to low 20s. It would make an excellent investment. The P&L is still good. It's not a crappy company, but it's getting worse pretty quickly. And leadership probably needs to come up and say, hey, we're about AI too, somehow. I mean, I'm a fan of Intel products. I have 2 Intel machines myself, replacing 2 AMD machines. Investment-wise, I could definitely nibble on Intel. If somebody wants to own stock for the long turnaround, and they wanted to own 1,000 shares and they bought 500 here and they'll buy 500 at 20 or 22, solid. Inter and Company, not to be confused with Intel. Don't know much about it. P&L looks solid. Chart never been higher. If you go long here, you definitely have ideas that I don't. If you're a trader, I would, okay, I get it, you're trading. If you're an investor, I want to caution you that it does swing trade. So just go like this from here to here. It rises and falls and rises and falls. So see if you can time the rhythm to go higher from here. Intuit, disappointment reaction on the earnings. Falling into support. If you lose said support, I think if this one loses 593-ish, you end up at 540, 530. A lot of unsettled candles down there. And must hold. Let's zoom in. These are old comments. We'll take them out. I think a rally into 630 plus or minus $2 or $3 is going to be met with a lot of sellers. It's going to be difficult to recover that high, which makes it easier to lose this support risk. I'll put a question mark here. Okay, be careful. Jack. Don't know what that is. Oh, Jack in the Box. I almost said it's a funny one. I'll say it anyway. Gag in the bag. Not for me. 66 is going to be impossible to recover without a changing headline, like game-changing headline. Whoa, what is this? What the heck? Yeah, from an investment perspective, if I own shares, I am not adding here. From an investment perspective, if I'm looking to own shares, why? And if so, if I've done homework and I know something that is possibly lurking as a good news, I would take only half of a position. In case I'm wrong, I would add the second half way, way lower than here. This is pretty scary chart. You have immediate sellers at 59 or higher. Look at it right there. And not a lot of buyers at 52. So now the battle, 52, 59. 52 will get you to 48 if you lose it. 59 will get you a bunch of sellers, exit longs. JD, same comment as far as Baba. Not for me. They busted through resistance after a second try. This did not play out. This played out. Now coming back into support. That makes sense. So this stock that broke out from this zone of 28.50 is coming back into 28.50. It should find this R is no longer R. Now it's support, the whole zone. So if somebody wants to go long into support, I get it. If somebody didn't go out of longs up here, I don't get it. Look left. There was a mountain of failures. And here is JEPI. What? What is a JEPI? JP Morgan Equity Premium Income. So I assume it pays dividends. Okay. So we're out of ideas. We just buy ETFs that people make up. Okay. 57.50. The return of the JEPI. 57.50 is a trigger that could probably get you a higher high than 57.90. You see it? But I don't know what the heck that is. So what you should do is get into it and see what stocks are in there. Support a little bit below into 56.40. I honestly don't know what to say, because if you're into this, I'm assuming you're into it for a dividend of sort. If so, then are you trying to time it, or I don't understand. Markets are at all-time highs. By the way, let me show you something here. RSP are not at an all-time highs. It looks like the RSP. Look at it. JEPI, RSP, same. So what is that? The RSP is the equal weighted S&P. So what we're saying, if you take out the top 5-6 companies in the S&P, we have not had an all-time high. Okay, so the market did not make highs. 5 stocks did and took the market with it. So this one is saying the same thing. I wouldn't pile in. I would accumulate a little bit over time. Correct. Okay, JP Morgan, another one. Are you serious with this? Okay, so this is what now? Equity premium income. How is this different than JEPI? Okay, so someone help me. What's the difference between these two? Different areas of the world? This is the XLV? I don't think it is. Anyway, I don't know what to say. Here, not an obvious entry point unless you're a breakout guy and you're looking to buy a breakout. So if you're holding calls here, this is a prior fail. It would make sense to buy the dip to take the breakout. But if you're holding calls or shares and you're okay on stopping out, if it doesn't play out, yep, it's a good trade. Otherwise, the same trade could be done by buying the dip. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, thanks. Not for me. Joe, coffee company? What is going on with these stickers today? All right, so a rally into 57, 50, 58 is not going to be easy to cut through that. A high volume area, multiple fails for a long time, and it spreads through 59. On the other hand, you have a buyer at 55. If you lose it, you have a backup buyer at 54. And if you lose it, you have a backup buyer at 53 or lower. So you do have a couple levels of support. and a giant barrage of resistance. So what's going to happen? I don't think a breakout is going to happen. So be careful hoping for a breakout. If I'm invested in this one, I would not use calls. If I'm wanted to trade it or invest in it, I would use shares or sell puts to own shares if it's liquid enough. I don't know enough about the company, so personally I would not sell puts. Lululemon, I would go long on dips, and this dip is falling into a huge base of support. Now the problem is the market is at all-time high, and we discussed this, and so it is tradable as long as you leave room for error, because it does have support through 260 and huge pandemic support that extends through 120. So one would assume that the very bottom is somewhere around 240 to 220, even if the market corrects 10, 15, 20%. One would make that assumption. I think it'll be a relatively okay assumption. If I'm long, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to get long, it's a decent starting point. My only hiccup is that the market itself is too high. Airline companies, hate them, all of them. All of them. This trend represents the state of affairs in airlines. So I realized something yesterday. So I was flying. Paying first class now gets you what you used to get for economy 10 years ago. That's what you get. A comfortable seat where you not have somebody sitting in your lap. That's basically what first class is. And a hot towel. That's it. Because that's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Now this stock is has a buyer at 2180, a harsh seller at 3520. Ping pong inside those two zones. I wouldn't get long into 35. I wouldn't get short into 22. Now if you lose 22 and 35, either of those breach, you go in that direction a lot. So if you lose 22 for whatever reason, doesn't look clear, you're going to like 14. If you take out 35 with conviction, you're probably going to 44. I don't know which will happen first, if either. Okay, so these are my, oh, look at this, my comments from before. From here, I said resistance, support, if you lose it, target. Cha-ching! So what we will do today, we will say check mark, and now resistance is again the problem and the opportunity to get you to here. If you take out 2850, you might get to 30. If you lose this, you're going here. That's within the comments of higher time frames. LVS, very similar scenario. Descending trend hasn't found support. So you see how many times they bounced off of 36? Ish, sorry, 44 right here. You would say 44, 44-ish, 44, 44. And if you lose it, these arrows are still in effect. Okay. Whoops. I hate when I do that. New keyboard too. What's your excuse now, Nick? New keyboard as well. Oh my gosh. The delete button is right next to the lock button, so I hit lock instead of delete. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing at myself. I apologize. Fly private. Yeah, okay. Resistance at 48. Support here. So if somebody went long into support, that's the proper way of, quote, trading the stock. If somebody's investing in it here, okay, I would not add to my investment if I'm already long. And if I'm investing, I would take half of a position, and if these arrows come to fruition, I would add the other half in two tranches. One half of the half and then the other half of the half. Macy's, pretty amazing recovery as far as business is concerned, because they really bungled it up after Amazon killed them almost. But they finally survived. So let's see how they do. We have a very extreme low, a very extreme high, and somewhere in the middle they are. So that makes sense. And then again, high, low, somewhere in the middle. And then you can reduce it down to the fact that, okay, we have a resistance support at 16, resistance at 25, ping pong inside those zones. That's the big picture. earnings in 80 days, so there's nothing, no catalyst now. I would assume that this is going to be difficult to overcome 2150. So maybe easier to drift a little bit lower, but there's tons of support. So what am I trading? Nothing. It's just stuck here. If I'm an investor, I'm not doing anything. Mara, same comments on Bitcoin. If you're trading Mara because of Bitcoin, you should just trade Bitcoin. Mara has Mara issues. Bitcoin doesn't have Mara issues. And Mara has stock market issues. Bitcoin does not have stock market issues on its own. 23 plus is the catalyst. 23 plus is not easy. It might get there. That's an exit point, in my opinion, not an entry point. So if you went long at 20 to get to 23, I would make that a target. 23, 24, I'm out. 28 could come if Bitcoin breaks out and if the stock market doesn't fall apart before then. Bunch of support spread across the bottom. Mongo. We've traded Mongo successfully. Up here is not an obvious entry point. Anything above 400 looks difficult, like extremely difficult, like more difficult than losing support at 320. You lose support at 320, you're coming down to 240, 250. That would be an amazing entry point. So better not lose this guy. So not to do this. Those are important comments. That's the big picture. Anything above 400, 420 is impossible right now. I just don't see them doing it. We'll see. You can take this candle right there and put a box around it and say the battle is inside this candle. So the bulls are trying to hold this candle. That's not good. You lose this candle, you're probably going to lose this bottom that they just placed. Melly, good company. Not an obvious point of entry. So it kills me because Melly people are usually investors. And when they come to me down here and I say, you can go long partially, they don't. And then it comes up to these levels and everybody wants to get long it. I don't get it. If you're an investor, you should love the fact that people hate Melly and it's below $1,000. Look at the money you could have made if you bought it at 600. So just buy the next dip. Up here, there's no rush. Look left. It's prior fail, prior fail, prior fail. So you say, oh, it's good, and now I feel comfortable. Well, it was still good down here, and you should have felt comfortable. Buy it when it's uncomfortable. You like saying Mercado Libre. Brad, I don't get that. Meta. So did it have a good day on Friday? It did. Okay, it needed to have a good day. So suddenly Meta is the underperformer of the mega caps when it was the one that couldn't stop rallying. Look at the white circles. Draw another one. I didn't draw one recently. There you go. And you can draw another one now. Now what? So if you don't take that out and you lose 460, you're going to end up at 440. And if you do pop from here, I would exit at 508 because 508 is going to be big resistance. Anywhere in here is going to be resistance. So any pop, I would take the money and run. Look left, huge volume on this time frame. So be careful chasing it blindly. MOS. We're going to need to eat well and feed more people because it seems like we're fixing every sickness there is and we're going to have exponential growth of people. And that's not going to be good. So we need superfoods. I think Mosaic can help with that. From an investment perspective, I get it, but why is the P&L going the wrong way? So the chart represents the P&L. I don't mind it. So just look at my screen. Up here, I drew this blue thing, and I said support. It might rally, it might dip. It rallied a little bit more than I thought it would. They cut through all the resistance and then failed at level resistance. If you look left, that's probably not a coincidence. And they came down to the target, check. So that blue zone was the target. And now they're doing it again. So my comments were already there. I don't need to say anything. So be careful with Mosaic. You might drift lower. Microsoft, great company. There's nothing wrong with it. It's at all-time highs. It's an NOPE for me. Nope. I'm going to tell you, I'm a big fan of Microsoft products. I've never owned Apple, and Microsoft's starting to feel like Apple and starting to piss me off. And so how many of us will jump out of Microsoft. Consider it. If they become Apple, then I will go with Apple. They have better machines. So I'm with Microsoft because I have some autonomy, and they keep taking autonomy from me. So the more they become like Apple, the less I like them. Anyway, the company is on rails. Buy the dip up here. It's an NOPE, not an obvious point of entry. Trading wise, there's plenty to trade, but it's just like the S&P. The first chart I started today had an S&P chart that looks kind of like this, right? A high, a low, and the 520 cave. Same thing. And by the way, Microsoft is the S&P. It is the largest company. And Netflix. Netflix has become a good mature company, so now it's being judged as a mature company. Now this chart on the daily is shortable with a stop. So if you sell a call spread, that's probably the best way of doing it. This way you can short it and leave room for error. The short is not against this. It's a W formation, so a harmonic that can retrace. So I'm going to say this. If we have a red week in the market, this one is vulnerable. Fundamentally, it's not a short. It's a good company, excellent management, very confident. It's impressive, almost annoying, but it's impressive. Nike, impressive management. What the heck's going on with the stock? Look at the sales. This is definitely an opportunity for an investor to pick up some Nike stock. I wouldn't add to my positions, but it is definitely at a closer to a bottom than a top, as opposed to the market closer to top to a bottom, which is bad for Nike. What if the market actually corrects? This one will be back in pandemic levels. That just doesn't make sense. So I would take longs in Nike here as a stock, and I would double down at 60 if the pandemic levels come. Olympics. When are the Olympics? November. This is the diet stock, right? Novar or whatever. Novartis. Okay, anyway. Sellers, buyers, you're in the middle. No decision from the chart. Decision is that 1920 looks difficult to take out, 1940, 1960. So I think it's easier to drift a little bit lower, nothing nasty, just into 1740. Visually speaking, it's easier to drop to 1740 from here. This is a short-term comment on trading. ServiceNow, it's a buy the dip stock, in my opinion. This dip is not that big. This is not NVO. Okay, so it's not a diet stock. Thank you for the comment there. I appreciate it. All right, Novartis. Okay, my bad. So ServiceNow, my comments stand on NVO, by the way, on Novartis. This looks like a dip to buy, but it isn't. It's a dip into support, but I don't know if I would buy it, because if I'm looking at this, there might be a double dip down to 680. And if the market's correct, losing 680 will get you to 620. Now, I don't mean to get people to buy puts in it. This is a long-term daily... I'm so consistent. This is it. You don't want to lose this one, this level. So let's zoom in and see where that stuff is inside. I said vulnerable. Look at that. Vulnerable. So you almost did both vulnerable arrows based on that red W. And so now the fact that they're below 760 and 765 is a problem. But they have a bunch of buyers below. They could drift to 708. Let's see if they do. It's a pretty good fight. I like it. See, I don't even need to make any comments. They're already there. Energy. Another mystery. Stock price looks parabolic, and you look at the P&L, and it's just flat as a pancake. What is going on with this world? What is happening? Is it a dividend play? Is that what they do? They pay dividends? Where is the dividend tab? I never look at it. They pay dividends, 50 cents, 40 cents. They do, 40 cents. AI play. Well, if it's an AI play, short the hell out of it. If it's an AI play. Energy consumption going through the roof. Okay, so why are these guys not collecting the sales? If it's going through the roof, why are your sales flat to down? So I don't get it. No margin whatsoever. Texas, most of its income, and the East, whatever that means. I think this is just a pure dividend play. That's it. Look at the debt they have, which is probably, that's what they do in that business. It's just a dividend play. That's all there is to it. Well, okay, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Somebody taking a dividend play and they're getting 40 cents and then the stock drops $30. There goes 16 years of 40 cents. So, not for me. Definitely not for me. Study the company. I may be blind to one of its benefits. Study the company. This is probably a cheap short. I'm going to put it on my watch list just because I don't know what it is. I need to educate myself on it. Okay, that's pretty funny. Nutanix, smart homes. Okay, whatever it is, the sales are not growing. The stock is growing too much. That's all. That's my point. You can tell me all kinds of exciting business it's in. It's not reaping the benefit of that excitement. Okay, that's just my comment. Sales not growing is horsebucky. Okay, so this one, not an obvious entry point, but look at that. They're breaking out from a prior fail. So I wouldn't touch this because it's one of those NT and THTH. It's too high to chase and too hot to short. I don't know what's going on, and it's breaking out, and it has a P&L and its earnings in 2 days. So you can come to me before the earnings to see if it has enough volume and the options to give us some clues. But whoa, that is insane. New holding, whatever. Let's see. We had a center point, and they're still pivoting around it. At one time, they just sliced right through it. You still have a support in the circle and sellers above. You're stuck. I don't think you're going to be able to take out that 1260, 1270. If you do, you have upside. Otherwise, buy the dip into 1050. NVIDIA, I've heard of it. I have heard of it. I think they do something to do with AI. No? Maybe? I've heard of it. Okay, what do you want? What is the question? Investing? Sure. Up here? Never. It's going to 2000. Okay, then buy it. Don't ask me. It's just made an all-time high. What's the question? Where can I buy it? Not here. For me, it would have to fall to the 700s for me to buy it. What? 700s? That's going to take forever. I have time. There are 2,000 other stocks I can chase. This is not for me. See you in 2050. Okay. You want to make a bet about it? You want to bet? You and me. We know each other personally. $100 bucks. That if we're alive in 2050, $100 bucks, 100 contemporary dollars, 100 bitcoins. No, I'll bet you a Bitcoin. No, also not. Wait for the split to buy NVIDIA. Oh my gosh. And the funny part is we predicted the split. We predicted the split. That was so funny. The whole conversation. Yeah. Anyway, excellent company. It's hard for me to chase it at an all-time high. Find a level of support when it dips into on some crazy market reaction. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 bad days, unless you're an actual trader. If you're an investor and you're not in NVIDIA now, why is the rush into NVIDIA? It's a breakout, yes, of course. What do I know about charts? Nothing. Just go long. Go long NVIDIA anytime. NXPI. Same comment. Why now? What's the rush? Same comment. All these rising wedges, they never hold. Look at them. I don't care how good the company is. They all have retracements. It's how stock market works. Look at these. It's like clockwork. Just take one of these and go from close my eyes, click on 2 lines and put them together. You will get the same rhythm. So just match them up. Let's see here. Rally here, right there. Rally dip. Check it out. I put it here, right? Is that perfect? We got the here, just a little bit off with time. You got it, the same one. So Just catch a rhythm, catch it on the flip side. Buy the dip into where 260 is pivotal and 240 something. You have some weird candles at 220. So if it falls into 220, that's the prior breakout level. That's an excellent entry opportunity, trading or investing. Up here, if I'm long, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to get long, I could probably wait a few weeks and be okay with it. Onion, no, on. I do have a couple of those shoes. They're very comfortable. Everybody loves them. I don't think they're that pretty, but if everybody else thinks they're pretty, what do I care, right? Okay, so you tell me if it's a good idea to go into the stock inside of its massive monthly failure. These are a month. This is a month here. In fact, God dang it. This is a whole month right there. That candle is 1 month. And it opened at the very bottom of it at 34, closed at exactly where we're at right now. It rallied all the way to 56 and failed in the same month. So be careful. Where do you chase it? It's definitely a breakout. Do not short it. They have a good P&L and they're in a breakout mode. So if you're a momentum trader, chase it. If not, buy the dip where anywhere below 35 would make sense. And here's 1850 on path, better hold. If you lose 1850, you're going to go to 14. Support, but if you lose it, it's actually going lower than 14, but I'm going to tell you that 14 would be a good resting spot. I think that this much downside would be immediate as opposed to the actual, look at that, I eyeballed it perfectly. Technically, it's all of this downside, which doesn't seem right. Okay, unless the P&L is crappy. Oh, and earnings in 2 days. Oof. All right, so how about this? I think it'll either soar or collapse on earnings. I don't think it does anything half-assed. We'll see what happens. So I either see you at 14 or 26 this at the end of the week. Let's look at it before the earnings. Somebody remind me. PDD. This is not Pinduoduo, as multiple people think it is. This is not Pinduoduo. It's some other company. It's an investment company. P&L is pretty solid. Probably a dividend play. Don't know what to say. God dang it. With this freaking microphone arm. Oh my gosh. And I paid money for this. Sorry, YouTube. I didn't cuss, did I? No. Okay. So, Pinduoduo? No, it isn't. PDD. Not an obvious entry point. It is a good P&L. I don't know what to say about it. Just buy the dip. If you're an investor and you're desperately wanting to go long, I wouldn't take more than 10 or 20% of my allotment. Use any dips to do it. And if you don't think it's going to dip, just look left. It's dipped many times. Is it the holding company? How come it's not based in China? Based in Ireland. Multinational commerce group that owns and operates a portfolio of businesses. Interesting. Okay. Thank you for that. Not for me up here. Most definitely not for me. Definitely not for me. It's just not an obvious entry point. Somebody might know the internals of the company. And that brings us to the end of video 2. Let's start video 3. Video 3 starting here. This is the third video of our weekly review of tickers on 5/27. Powell Industries. Okay, what do they do? Cut rates and raise rates? Put up dish. I beat you to it, Brad. Looks like it wants to break out. Buying dips makes sense. If you're long, just trail your stops, I guess. This red thing you see on my screen is bearish, and it doesn't get negated until they close above 211. So be careful starting longs here if you're not a good, if you don't have good stops. As an investor, I wouldn't be all in. I would much rather buy the dip into 170. I'm not saying short it, but it's vulnerable. How about we say vulnerable from here to here? This way we won't piss off anybody and we express our opinion technically. It's vulnerable. Prosy. Very strange stickers we have today. Okay, so this is interesting. The net income is like 4 times the sales. Awesome. That makes total sense. I don't know what to say. Are you investing or trading? The chart's not going to help you with anything here. Fix the P&L first. Explain to me that first, and then we'll talk charts. This is not an obvious entry point on Prosy. What is this? Engages provision different technology platform. Anyone? Explanation? How this happens? Three years in a row. Bottom line, way bigger than the sales. They've discovered how to make money out of thin air. Awesome. PSTG, Pure Storage. I would imagine with all this AI stuff, these guys would benefit. Earnings in 2 days. Chart's not going to help you. Coin flip reaction to the earnings. Not because is the P&L going to be good or bad. It's about what people expect from the P&L. We've had excellent companies report unbelievable reports, and the stock falls 10, 15, 20%. Just doesn't make sense. So 2 days, coin flip. Qualcomm, excellent company, into the moon. It makes sense, but not an obvious entry point. Could I say that again one more time? This is not an obvious point of entry. Buying dips, yes. Where? Anywhere. And the stock market dips, this one will dip. Probably will hold up better than the stock market. It's got good fundamentals. Qualcomm. The Qs. I will have a special video on that. It's nothing more than what I said this morning about the SPY. You got to be careful because the Qs have momentum, and they have 6 stocks that can take it wherever they want to, regardless of what quote the market does. So respect the bulls. Okay, they may set another high. Watch the RSP for quote the market, or watch the IWM. I still think the real battle in the market is inside the IWM, which as we speak is up 0.5%. I'm watching the RTY, which is the futures contract. So they are doing better than the flattish green ES. So we're having some movement. So from last week, the RUT is looking like it can break out. So respect the power of the QQQ. That's where all, quote, the AI excitement lives. RCL, I spoke to a lot of people that like to cruise, and they still like to cruise. So this is a lot of love for the stock, to be honest. I mean, business is back to normal as far as bookings, but the debts and all of that haven't. So I fail to see why investors love it so much. Be careful. It's in open air, so there's nothing to short. I just don't think it's an entry point for an investment. Trading wise, there's probably plenty to trade. A lot of buyers into 144 or lower, so you have definite support. You have another opportunity to break out for another high at 151. So if you're holding calls, I get it. Just make sure you're trading. Funny. Roku. This does not get love from Wall Street anymore. Remember when Roku was one of the beloved ones? And God help them if they lose 55-ish. I don't know how low it goes. 42, 38? In a series of lower lows and lower highs. It used to be for me, sell a put in Roku blindly on every dip. I don't know about that anymore. It's just pretty dangerous the way it's acting here, so be careful. RTY, I don't know I just spoke about it. I will have a whole video later tonight on that one. So this is not the RTY. When you send in a request for a futures contract, most often my machine doesn't pick up on it. So here's the RTY, the small caps. You have sellers everywhere above you and buyers everywhere below you. A weak point down to 2020 or 2030 and a catalyst above 2130. So if the bulls, what have I said on the small caps? They need to break out soon, otherwise they're going to suffer tremendously. And it's at a higher time frame. So on a higher time frame, you do have the bulls need to break out. You can't hang around here too long and consolidate this long without suffering consequences. Anyway, we'll see what happens. It's easier to track on the IWM. Whoops. It's heavier volume as well. So Shopify, like Roku, almost the same price action. Good company, good business, decent P&L, not awesome P&L, just decent P&L. And you can see how it's struggling to hold. Wow, scary stuff. If they lose it, they're probably going to come down to 48. Now, I'm long this via a credit put spread. And when I took the credit put spread, I said that that's the case, that it's probably going to get tested. And because the downside from that collapse up top is still not reached. So it needs help from the market itself. So be careful. If the small caps are strong, then Roku will rise. I don't know. Schlumberger, they just lost a really important support. Whoa, scary stuff. I would not be long the stock. I don't know how low it goes. They need to bounce back to 48.50. If better yet, 49.50. Until then, you're in danger of going to 44 and 42 in a series of lower lows and lower highs. Plenty of support below, and they're probably going to use all of it. Silver, I'm short. The minute I went short, silver had the biggest day ever. A huge day. I'm back to being a little bit down versus a lot of bit down, so I'm still holding my short, and I haven't added to it. I want to see if it gets to 27 before it comes back to 29. If it does, then it probably gets to 26 as well, maybe even 25.50. So it's an exciting trade that doesn't cost a lot of money, so I'm still in it. SMCI, this is a perfect example of a huge report that doesn't get well received by Wall Street. Growing 200% in sales apparently doesn't impress these people. So I had rally into resistance, curl back down, and see if you can get to this target. Well, they rallied into resistance once and failed twice. Let's see what happens. Are they going to fail? And if they do, they probably end up here. Easy catalyst on the way up. If the market is green this week, 975 will get you to 1100. P&L is good. Business is good. Not sure why it's not at the moon like all the other ones that deserve or don't deserve it. SMH, well, what goes on with NVIDIA now goes on with the SMH. Not, you can trade it. How about you can use it to hedge? If you're short the market and you want to hedge, I'm short the RUT, the heaviest. So I am, quote, short the market, but very little with the SPX and nothing with the NDX except for what I shared last week, first one, and a bunch of RUTs. Say I'm short the market, this would be a decent hedge. It's in open air, so the bulls have complete control. If I'm wanting to be bullish, I would buy dips. Snowflake, P&L is okay. Report was not well received, clearly. At first it was, but then something spooked people. So what did it do? It gave you confirmation of where the sellers are. So check this guy out right here. Check this guy out right in the middle of that circle, and look at where we died, right here. And I would argue that there's a seller here as well. So now you have support and backup support. You're stuck. You can sell a put spread, which we did last week. You can sell a call spread if you want to, which we didn't. Decent company, I'll buy dips. SoFi, decent company, I'll buy dips. Did I buy this dip? I don't think so. Not in my portfolio, at least. It is buyable, but again, I worry about this catastrophe in the U.S. consumer. We have extremely high debt, record debt, and rates are not falling like people said they would lower rates. So we'll see what happens. What if consumer spending falls? I don't know how these guys will get affected. I honestly don't know exactly their business. Do they issue non-secured loans? Do they consolidate non-secured loans like that other one, Upstart? The SPY, I will have a special video for it. You guys don't need to ask for it here. I started with the SPY. Square, good company to catch a falling knife in usually. Trades with Bitcoin. So I want to remind everybody, Square and PayPal for the longest time trade with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is at an all-time high, not an all-time high, is at the recent highs. So if it retraces, if Bitcoin has a bad jag of 6 months, this one will fall for 6 months. That's what happened before. Okay. So there is a problem there with Square. The stock 72 area plus or minus is huge resistance, and you do have support at 62, but it's not huge. So be careful with that. Okay. Skyworks, 4G, right? 5G company. Look at the seller zone above. Whoo-wee. Talk about overhead supply, as they say in Wall Street. Huge resistance and definite supports here. So you're stuck in the middle. I wouldn't buy shares. I wouldn't buy calls. If they pay a dividend, maybe, but I just don't see why. Maybe it's like a Verizon type of a trade. Once it gets to a certain level, you buy it for the dividend. I honestly don't know if they pay a dividend. So let's go look. They do pay a dividend. So see if it's attractive for you and what are the alternatives that pay you that kind of dividend. Remember that the government will pay you 6% or 5% for a short-term bond. So that's the quote. Oh my God, dang it. I mean, how stupid is the human being, or this human being, I should say, with banging the same boom arm? Because it's low profile. You forget it's there, and I move my hand and boom. Okay, what was I saying? Okay, this is not risk-free. The government bond is considered no risk. TC, is this Tencent? Yeah, I am not touching Tencent. I get less abuse sparring at the gym, correct? This is a short. If you're short 10 cents, good for you. Hang on to it. It's going down to hell. Not trading 10 cent. Why would you trade? It's like headline from government, China this, US that, and the chart is hideous. Okay, take out 52, you go to 62. But you're probably going to go to 42 first. Target. The dip, there was just nothing great to do, but we did, I think, a credit put spread on the dip. Good company, decent result, just people expected more. And if you think about it, look at it. You got a low, you got a high, we're right in the middle. So short term, you've got a roof above you that I don't think it can cross in a long time. This area here. I think it's relegated to stay. Markets at our all-time highs. If this is topish for the market, this one is buried for a long time with all these highs stuck above. Hopefully you didn't buy it up there. Support zone, yes, everywhere below, and I mean everywhere. So I'm going to say that this was a mistake. So this should be a floor, and so this was definitely support. And this area is catchable. Anywhere in here, I think target would be a bargain. Tesla. Tom says it's going to 250 or 225 in July or something. Anyway, your target is 189. You take out 189, you can challenge this area of interest up there. 189 is your first problem. So get to 189 and break it before you lose 166. If you lose 166, you're going to 149. Those are my previews on it. Meanwhile, if you're trading Tesla and you don't know how to read charts, good luck. Good luck. You need a lot of luck. Shorter term to see if any 168, 185. Taiwan Semi, excellent company. I said let's short it for a little bit cautiously, recognizing it's an excellent company. The trade went green, then red, and I did not look at it on Friday, so I don't know where we stand. Did I sell a call spread? Did I buy a put or both? I can't remember what I did. But I know I am bearish on it just from a chart perspective. That's it. And it's one of the great P&Ls. Look at it. Bulletproof P&L. Absolutely bulletproof P&L. Excellent management. So nothing against the company at all. Twilio, don't short TSM unless you're just shorting the chart. Twilio, you have a big box. You better not lose the bottom end. You lose the bottom end, it's probably going to 53, even though it has a lot of buyers at 56. Okay? And I don't think it can break out through 66 for a long time. Hell, I don't think it's going to go above 63 for a long time. If it does, the catalyst may get you back to 68, exit. Uber, I shorted it, I think, Yes, but not recently. And I'm bearish on the chart. I was bearish on the chart. I said sellers. The sellers showed up inside the seller box, and they're still there. And I think this box, half of it is sellers as well. So if I go here and I'll put lines, this most likely is resistance. So which is easier, break through that or lose the support here? I think it's easier to come to here, which is 60, than to go to R. So if it rallies into the letter R, exit your longs, try to short it to come back down to here. God dang it. I just want to stop. I just want to stop. This is how annoying this is. How many times can I munch on the microphone in one morning? Let me put some duct tape on my arm that I can't move it. Uber, good company. Okay place to start longs and chart in investment. Trading wise, it's not great. Alta, same comments as Lulu, was it? Good company, good P&L, earnings are coming here. So whatever I tell you now is not going to matter. It's going to react to the earnings. Whether good or bad, we don't know how they're going to react. So I would imagine that a lot of the expectations have been baked out of the stock because it's fallen from the top down to here. So support at 330 eventually. I will read the earnings options, but if I remember correctly, they don't have a lot of action in the options. So I probably wouldn't do anything except to try and sell some risk, like if you know how to sell an iron butterfly, just to take advantage for the implied volatility. Other than that, just wait for the reaction after the market reacts to it and then trade that. If it's a dip, I would buy the dip, definitely. UNG, boy, did I miss that one. I wanted to go long when it was at the bottom, and I suggested to people live to buy the shares. And if they did, they made a lot of money. I personally missed out on it. Up here, it wasn't a good starting point. This is a crazy ticker. If you don't know charts and you don't have a good risk appetite, stay away from this guy. It's just very difficult to trade natural gas. Even the futures traders have a hard time with it. It looks like 1750 and 1850 is a pivotal zone. So if you want to mark that, 1850 and 1750. So let's see what they do inside this zone. Valero, oil company, I'm not in love with those. At one point we did this. When I put this color box, it means it's pivotal zone, and they lost it, and now they're trying to get back into it, and they're failing. So if this week they stay below 162 or 160, it's bearish, and they're probably going to lose 152. And if they do that, they go to 140. I'm not saying short the company. I'm just saying what the levels are that are important. Okay, so get back into this box, recover this neckline, and that's resistance. So I'm going to say R here still. So we could drift, and this is potentially doable. Potentially doable. So be careful. I would not hold calls in Valero. If I'm holding shares, I'm not panicking. I'm not adding, but I'm not panicking. VSO. It looks like it's impossible to get out of 23, but if you do, you get the 25.50 exit. This is terminal, but if it's not, exit here. Otherwise, there should be support inside of here. Workday. I'm saying here and here, I'm assuming you're watching this at home. And if you're not, just get home and watch it. Workday, they reported. Okay, so I would have caught that knife on Friday. Too bad. I missed it. I will read the earnings report and see what they said. Arguably, I would say that this drop is all about $45 from the top, which is, look, that target is 217. Once they lost this guy, the head and shoulders measurement is down to here, and they are in that area, 220 to 215. And it's a base. I would go long into that base, unless the sales report, the report says something different. So if you guys watched it and can explain it, I think it's a good place to start longs. Too bad I wasn't working Friday on charts. I would have sold puts in it to own shares. Wolf. Don't know what they do. I don't do penny stocks. Anything under $5 is not for me. You have a buyer into 180 and a buyer into 160 and a bunch of sellers above 230. So ping pong the range until you break through one of those ranges. Exxon, same comments as Valero. Exxon and Chevron have excellent managements. I think one of them is outshining the other one now, which is pretty strange. All right, so check this out. They had a battle zone here and it became resistance. They had a battle zone here and it's become resistance. And the breakout was down here. And look at this area, that yellow circle, you see that? From back 2023 October, it was a big problem and now they're trying to hold it. I think they are tracking $6 of downside. So 111 to 110 at least. So I think this target is going to end in here. I think that's the target in a series of lower lows and lower highs. So what I predict that either they go down to it or they rally like this. XPO. They better hold 104. So I put R and they hit R and failed, and they failed to recover again. And if they don't come back and beat 116, which I doubt they can, actually check that. There's nothing but sellers above. So this, the only statement, if you better hold 104. If you don't, you're going down to like 93. Okay. Zoom. I think we traded the dip. No, that's the earnings thing. Stuck in the middle. Huge reaction from earnings, which is good. I like it when they do that. What you can do is you can draw a box. You can draw a box and make it turquoise, because that is the box for a long time. All right. And ping pong. Seller credit put spread, seller credit call spread. Don't expect anything much outside that box for a long time. It's a good company, so hold it if you own it. Scale into it if you want to own it. Zscaler is a crazy company, crazy stock. This white line could happen, but it just needs a market-wide move. A lot of support below, like a lot of support below. And we traded often, and this is a bunch of support down here. Wide support zone. So I would not hold a put, but I definitely wouldn't hold a call unless I'm trading a breakout. Down here, if you bought calls into this prior support, if you sold the put spread and bought call and call spreads, outstanding. I'm going to add it to my trade watch list because it is a momentum trade, and if somebody wants to buy a call here, they have the opportunity to gain. So, yep, doable. But it's a trade. As an investment, you might find better opportunities. Maybe nibble on the investment. And with that, we have a day. I did stream this to YouTube. Didn't have many people there, but it was fun. Bye, YouTube. I'll see you next time, maybe. If you're not members, belong. And folks here, I appreciate you for being here. Enjoy your day off. Yeah, Bitcoin passed 70 today. All right. People always are surprised with that. Okay, and now the small caps are taking off. 0.6%. Up $11. So we're up $1 on the IWM. Okay, folks, I got to run. I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. I will post those videos. I will have a strategy video tonight